Awesome, awesome, awesome. We are live. If you can hear us, if you can see us well, please let us know in the comments. Let us know where you're coming from. Say hi to us. We are so excited. So who here is ready to get your spouse back? You know, right now, if you were to see me, I've got some like oil on my shirt from cooking dinner. I have 7 kids and that's just how we roll. But we're going to be really present tonight. This is going to be absolutely a dialogue, not a monologue. So I want to see you guys in the chat. I want to hear your comments and I want you to stretch your fingers, do some finger warm-ups, get your fingers ready. And I'm going to ask you if you can relate to something. So I'm going to ask you, if that's you, then type in yes, me. Okay, I see some of you joining us live. Awesome, welcome. So who here needs this masterclass? Who here is like craving this? I want to get my spouse back. Who's been waiting for this masterclass? Who knows, you know, maybe there's something here for me. There's some clarity. Type in yes, me. Yes, okay, I see some more of you joining. Awesome, yes, absolutely me. So excited, great. So Mark and I, we have done a few of these masterclasses and they're always just on fire. So if you're here, get ready to be set on fire. The intention of this masterclass is to inspire you, to call you to your greatness, to give you massive clarity, and I want to make it difficult, make it impossible for you to sit in any form of mediocrity about yourself and the marriage that you really crave. Does that sound fair? Does that sound good? So I want you to really focus here on this. Give this your attention. You're here because your marriage matters. I'm here because my marriage matters, because these are sacred relationships that impact not only our lives, but so many others' lives as well. So honor yourself, honor your marriage, honor your family by giving this your focus and your intention. And I also encourage you to take a 30,000-foot view of your current situation. Just as imagine if you could just like pull yourself right up out of your own life and take that 30,000-foot view of it to give you the perspective and give you some clarity about what's really going on here. And as you do that, I encourage you to open your heart, open your mind, allow there to be an open space for some inspiration to come to you. You know, there may be something, and I guarantee if you're paying attention, there will be something that absolutely is going to resonate with you. And that right there is your greatness calling to you. That right there is your inner being say, yes, this is what I need. Yes, this is the direction I need to go on. And ideas or inspiration is going to come to you. And I encourage you to take note of that. If you have a pen and paper, I encourage you to get that out. Even if you have something on your phone or your tablet, whatever you're on, to take some notes and pay attention to what really resonates to you tonight. Does that sound fair? Okay, awesome. I see a lot of you on here live. Welcome, welcome. So like I said, this is a dialogue. It is not a monologue. Mark and I are not here just to talk at you. We are here to have a truly extraordinary experience. All right, got my fingers ready. Awesome. Hello from Virginia, Arkansas. Awesome. Me. Awesome. So good. So I'm going to ask you a couple more questions and I want to see your responses. Now, I want you to know, just resonate if this is you, I'm going to share some experiences from my own life. And if you've ever been there, then say, yes, I get that. I'm there. I hear you, girl, whatever you want to put out there. But can you relate that in my marriage, there have been times when I have felt like I do not know what's going on. I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea how we got to this place. I've had those nights where there is this little sliver on your mattress. It's this very edge of the bed, as far away from that person as I can get. So I'm not touching him at all. And I can't fall off the bed. And trying to balance myself on that little sliver of the mattress as tears are streaming down my face. And I'm just wondering, what are we doing? Why are we treating each other this way? How did we get in this situation? We are so far from where I thought we would be. Does that sound like you? Are you ever wondering, like, I don't know what to do. It seems like everything I do is wrong. I've been there. I have felt that. I've had moments of just absolute joy and connection and closeness with my husband. And I've also had times where it feels like, we're just going through the motions. Things have just gotten kind of stale, and the busyness of life, we're just kind of going through the motions. And like, where'd the fun, where'd the passion go? I'm saying yes, yes, so confused. He won't come near me. Yes, absolutely, definitely. My exact feelings, good. Hello from Australia. Yep, we've got an international audience here. So it's evening, morning, maybe the middle of the night. You never know. I don't know how we got here exactly. So I've been there myself. And so we are going to walk you through exactly what a radically different, proven method is to restore your marriage, even if right now you're sleeping on the edge of that mattress, right? Or even if you're not even in the same home right now, even if your spouse is checked out. Maybe they're pushing for divorce. Maybe you're unhappy. And so that's what we want to get into, so we can close the gap. Who here feels like there's a gap between where you are right now and where you want to be with yourself and your spouse? Okay. So we're going to give you the tools to inspire you to tap into your greatness, because it's there. And we're all here because something in our life is calling us to move us forward. Something's calling us to make some changes, to make some positive transformations. So let's make that a really transformative experience, and let's decide that we can do that right now. Definitely. Awesome. Yep, you're feeling a big gap. So that's our job. That's our intention, is to make that transformation and close that gap between you and your husband or your wife. So in case you don't know who we are, I'm Heather Choate, the crazy lady with the olive oil on my shirt right now. Good thing you can't see me because I'm behind my webcam. So I am an international my marriage expert here with Mark Johnston. We have clients in Australia, New Zealand, UK, Canada, and the US. And Mark and I, we really specialize in helping couples in this situation where one person is pulling away from a relationship. What we do is radically different than counseling or really any other program out there. And we help strengthen and improve relationships. And ultimately, this is what I want you to really sink into here, become the best version of yourself, the best version of yourself, so that you can make lasting change. Does that sound good? Sounds like something you want? Awesome. Yes. Good. So we've coached and studied thousands of couples all over the world. And regardless of what nationality, what culture, what religion, we've figured out that there are commonalities in successful couples. There are certain traits that successful couples have that we can see. There's things that bring them together, and there's things that pull them apart, right? There's certain actions, there's certain traits. They almost universally spell disaster. And there's almost universally traits that spell success. So we want to hit the ground running with you right away so that you can get those awesome results fast, and you can get your spouse back. You can have that feeling of, we're back in love. They're back at home with me again. They're back in our family. That gap, that distance has been closed, and now they're back. Sound good? Awesome. Saying yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to make you a couple promises, but I would like you to, in turn, give a commitment to us as well. So in the next 45 minutes, here's what Mark and I are going to do. We're going to help you understand why your spouse is wanting to leave and what 98% of people are doing that's preventing marital happiness. It's preventing their spouse from coming back to them. Do you want to know what that 98% is? I certainly know I do. All right. And we will radically shift the way that you think your problems need to be solved, because there's a lot of really common mistakes that we see that could easily be prevented if you knew the right way to solve these problems. And we will show you the proven method to turn things around the right way. So now what we want from you, like I said at the beginning, is that you will speak up. So this is a dialogue, not a monologue. Let us know what's going on. Let us know what resonates with you. When something just kind of hits you like a bolt of lightning, let us know. Wow, I just had the biggest aha moment. Wow, I never knew that until now. Oh my goodness, this is going to change everything for me, right? And share that with us and help inspire each other. And then you will be willing to go deep and have that open mind. Open that space in your mind, open that space in your heart. Be willing to start to accept some new things. It may feel a little uncomfortable, but let's face it, guys, if we don't start doing new things, then we're not going to start getting new results. Like if we just keep doing the same thing that we've always been doing, then we're going to keep getting what we've always been getting. So there's times in my life where I don't like what I'm getting, and yet I continue to do the same things until I finally learn that I need to do some new things. And when I do the new things, then I get new results. Make sense? Yes, please. Awesome. So third commitment here we'd like from you is that you will decide to take action to turn things around the right way, in the way that speaks to you. Because talking about it, feeling really good for 45 minutes is great, but if it doesn't translate into actual change, then this has been a waste of time for us. We don't want to waste your time, and we don't want to waste our time. So decide to take action in the way that's right for you so that real change can start to occur. That's what we're all about. Not just talking or feeling good, but making real change. All right, let's dive in here. So what 98% of people don't know. Now, I know some of you have been following us for a while, and maybe you saw my post about this, and maybe you already know the answer. So if you want to play teacher's pet and give it away for the rest of us, what do you think 98% of people don't know? Put that in the chat. I'm going to watch the comments over here. I can see a lot of it. Awesome. So what do you think 98% of people don't know? When their marriage is struggling, when their spouse is pushing for divorce, when there's distance, when you're just feeling like I want to get my spouse back, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. What do you think 98% of people don't know? Communication. Okay. Awesome. LOL. I'm not sure what you're laughing about, but I'm glad I made you laugh. If I can entertain you, that's a bonus. Maybe it's the fact that I just laugh randomly because I love to laugh. All right. Yep. All right. Let's go into it. So let's go into this. And I'm going to keep watching as we go on to this. It just takes one of us. Okay. That's what the comment was. Let's get into that and see if you're right. So I just got off the phone with a guy, and he was in tears. It's actually a dear friend of our family. He's been struggling for 8 months to turn his marriage around. 8 months, right? And I know many of you, it may have been a lot longer. Some of you, maybe 8 days, but it feels like 8 decades when you're in that situation, right? I've definitely been there, and I understand that feeling. So what he's already done, he's tried counseling and it hasn't worked. His wife just continues to push for divorce, continues to say, I'm not happy here. You can never make me happy. I'm out, right? He went on a cruise with her, thought that, if we just go to Hawaii on this cruise, we'll get this great connection time. Well, what happened? They came back from the cruise and went right back to where it was before. He went to their pastor, and she refused to go. She said, I'm done. It doesn't matter what you do. I'm not going to work on this, right? I know a lot of you can relate to this, right? He just was telling me, he's been staying up at night, wondering if maybe she's seeing someone else. Maybe that's why she's not happy. Maybe there's an affair going on that he just was completely blindsided to as he's been working his job and taking care of their 3 boys. Maybe that's what's going on. He's struggling to concentrate at work. It's starting to really affect his performance. He's been at the same job for 10 years. Now he's worried about getting fired, but he's like, I can't focus. It's just so hard to focus. And he was telling me that he's just been hoping, he's been praying and pleading with God, please, something pan out for me. And his hope is starting to diminish, right? He's starting to wonder, is this actually ever going to work? Is it too far, too gone? Is it too little, too late? Is there really anything I can do at this point? Because she's so set on it. And yeah, afraid it's too late. So here's the truth, and this is exactly what I told him, okay? Bottom line, you don't need to waste years in counseling. You don't need to go on a fancy schmancy overpriced cruise, although that's certainly fun. it's not going to solve these issues. And I can see one of you put root issues. Oh, teacher's pet. But that's not it. Psych. Okay. You don't need advice from your friends, pastor, or books. Okay. Because we're going to go into the exact truth of what you do need. There are 4 simple things that you need to do instead. Don't you want to know what they are? How do I know what they are? How do Mark and I know what they are? Well, because like I said, we've studied thousands of couples, and we've turned around so many marriages just like yours and just like my dear, dear friends. And like I said, there's commonalities in couples everywhere. Certain things pull them together and certain things tear them apart. So drum roll here, I'm going to turn it over to Mark, and he is going to come on now and show you exactly what the 98% of people don't know that is preventing them from marital happiness. So Mark, over to you.
All right. Well, thanks. Yeah, thank you, Heather, for introducing all that. And without further ado, I mean, you can see it right here. I mean, it says it very clearly. You know, most people, by the time they come to us, I get to talking with them. I get to hear their story. And I just have to wonder this a little bit, because I noticed that nearly everyone, they don't have an understanding of why their spouse is leaving. They might think that they understand. They might say, okay, well, my husband is leaving because there's another one. My wife is leaving because she's unhappy. But the truth of it is, I mean, this is just scratching the surface. I mean, it doesn't even begin to explain why someone is leaving a long-standing marriage. And this is why I think a lot of people come to us, because they are confused. They say, okay, what, you know, yeah, my spouse, my wife says that they're unhappy, but so what? You know, that doesn't mean that you leave the marriage. So what I've also found here is that just about every single time, almost 100%, or very nearly 100%, that every one of these spouses who have been leaving, they've built up a story or a narrative that justifies their leaving. And they have lots of different reasons here. You know, possibly it's because my spouse won't change. Maybe there's, you know, alcohol abuse and things like that, and they just won't change. Maybe it's because the change that they're doing is just temporary. You know, it's just they're trying to get them back. Like, okay, he might be going to rehab, but when he gets back, and he's going to be different now, but you know, 6 months down the road, we're going to be in the same boat. Might be that their husband or wife is just really looking out for themselves, and they say, okay, there's time and time again, my wife, she doesn't really care about what I'm, you know, what's in it for me. She doesn't take care of me. And I'm just stuck at home, or I'm stuck at work doing all these things, and you know, they're only looking out for themselves. It might also be that there's nothing to be found in the marriage anymore. I'm guessing that some of you out there have probably heard that. They say, you know, you might be hearing your husband or your wife saying, you know, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. We just don't have that spark anymore. Many other ways of saying pretty much the exact same thing here. And which gives us to the next one, that very phrase. And the reason why we put that in here is we hear that so often. You know, you get to a point where it's not like you hate each other, though in some cases our clients are experiencing that as well. It's just that there isn't that love anymore, and they want to be in that relationship where there is some love. It could be also that they're just not happy, which is one of my favorites, because honestly, what does that actually say? I mean, what is that actually telling us? It doesn't tell us anything, but so many people are saying it. They might also say, no, I don't get what I want. So they're really hopeless about being able to be in the relationship, be happy, get what they want out of life. It's just not there. And so all of these things here, this is all this is the narrative. This is the story that they're building up. And I can tell you I can guarantee you here that these things that they're saying about the marriage, this is absolutely the reason why they're so bent on leaving. And they're really resistant to doing anything like therapy, talking things out, you know, trying for a little bit longer. You see, the thing is here, I want to give you a secret. You know, even if it seems like the change has been sudden, even if you don't even know where this has been coming from, I will tell you with with a whole lot of confidence here that your husband or wife has been building up this story for years. People do not just leave a marriage out of nowhere. So they've been piecing it together, just a little bit here, a little bit there. Maybe you didn't come to an important event, and they're saying, okay, here's, not so big, but it's showing me they don't care. And then they start looking for that evidence. At this point, they've probably even become accustomed to hunt down all of that evidence, making it so that sometimes even kind gestures, even things that you're trying to do good, are interpreted as something frustrating or annoying or even manipulative. I bet a lot of you have heard that word itself as you've been trying to pull them back into the marriage. Oh, you're just being manipulative. And do we hear that? There's this story that's been built up. So I'm guessing that all of you are asking a very similar question here. I bet you're asking these questions right here. How do I figure out what their story is? And even more important, the part that's actually going to get the two of you back together, how do I start changing that story? And how do I build up hope and any sort of happy future? See, here's the thing. You can't hope to fix a problem if you don't understand what that problem is. And if you don't fix what drove you apart, there is not a chance at all to be happy together again. And so how we are going to fix all this, we're going to break it down really easily in our path method. Heather and I have been really looking into this, and we've been, I've been noticing that some of the things that we put out, it's a big collection of really good stuff. And I really wanted to organize this and make it really understandable, really simple to follow. And this is what we have here for you. So the path method here, we break it down. We're going to use an acronym because it just makes it so much easier to remember. P is for perspective. It's about understanding the problem, understanding your spouse, understanding yourself. The A is for adjustment. It's about making those changes and making sure that you are creating a healthy foundation for you to actually be able to have a good relationship. For instance, if there is, like I was talking about earlier, if there's problems like alcoholism, if we don't adjust that, if there's not really any foundation to have a healthy relationship with a really serious problem like that. If the two of you are having very consistent fights and arguments and you're yelling and screaming at each other, there's no foundation there to actually look at this at all different, to actually feel safe within the relationship. So we have to understand what the problem is on a deep level, and then we start making some changes. After that, we start telling a new story and adjusting how everyone is looking at this. Like I said earlier, your husband, your wife, the one that's leaving the marriage, they have absolutely built up a story that is justifying their leaving. And we can't hope to adjust that story if we don't understand the reasons why they're leaving and if we haven't made some changes there. Once we have that healthy foundation, you're going to have a much better place to work from to help them see things differently here. And then lastly here is just the idea of hope. Heather and I are really, really big on keeping a positive mindset, having that vision of the future, and making sure that you are in a good place so that you can approach these problems with calm, with respect, with understanding, with a positive attitude. This is how you are going to change. You cannot hope to change any of this, if you yourself are coming from an unhealthy place. So I'm going to turn this over to Heather just for a bit to kind of introduce at least the first part of the path method.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks. And this goes so in alignment with what I was just seeing over in your comments, that even my kind gestures or my encouragement is seen as annoying or are disregarded. I'm seeing a lot of you are saying, yeah, that's me too. I've tried everything there is also, and it's still not working. Okay. And that's why it's so important, because what we found is that you can make all the positive changes in the world, and they're literally just going to bounce off of your spouse when they are stuck in the story. when they say it doesn't. Susie is always going to nag me and I can't be happy with her. As long as that's Tom's story, then no matter what Susie does, he's not going to see it. He's going to continue to look for evidence of why that story is still true, no matter what you do, to justify his reasons for leaving. Okay? Does that make sense? Am I making that clear? So when we hear work on yourself, make these positive changes, that is crucial. But it is equally as crucial that we start to help our spouse to change that story so that then they can actually see it for what it is. Okay, so that's what we're going to get into. We're going to go a little deeper into it now. So what we want to do is gain perspective on the root issues. I know my A+ student over there, root issues going on and uncovering what their narrative is. Now raise your hand here. Who here feels like they have great communication with their spouse? Okay, my hand isn't even raised. And I work on this all the time, right? But communication, it's like when we're in this situation, it's like a closed door. It's like you're on one side of a canyon and they're on the other side and they're locked in an iron box. There's no key and there's no way they're going to open it. And you're trying to shout across the canyon at them to try to get through, right? So there's like no communication, or there's very poor communication, or there's no way to get them to open up. Would you agree? Like, would you say that that's where you're at? I'm saying yes. Oh my goodness. I so resonate with that. Yep. So that is exactly what we need to do, is start to open up that communication. And that's actually the very first goal and milestone that we look for in our path method. So I want to show the difference here about the understanding that we need to have about what's really going on. Okay. So what are their problems and their concerns? Why are they so significant to my husband or my wife? What is what is keeping them from considering working on the marriage again? And the biggest question, what do you ultimately want, husband or wife? Tom, Ben, Susan, Christy, what do you ultimately want? Okay. So we want to open up that dialogue with them. And that's exactly what we show you how to do so that we can understand what their narrative is. Yep. I'm seeing no talk about us. Absolutely closed door. Funny analogy. Okay. Glad to entertain you again. All right. And the whole purpose here, this is why so radically different what we do, is that we want to look at the root issues and not the symptoms. Okay, where's that? Where's my A+ student again? So what are some examples of some symptoms versus root issues? Okay, start to throw some out there. Okay, affairs. An affair is a symptom. It is not a root issue. Pornography addiction, any kind of addiction, alcoholism, drug addiction, any kind of addiction. Stonewalling, or on the opposite end of the spectrum, tension. Stonewalling, completely shutting you out. Silent treatment, closed off. Tension means everything's just argumentative. Argumentative. My kids would laugh at me right now. Fighting is going along with that tension. Money issues, parenting challenges, and apathy. And why it's so important to understand that these are symptoms and not root issues is that this is where most people fixate on. That's where the pain is, right? That's what's glaring you in your face. That's what's showing up for you every day. I come home and my husband is a closed door. I can't get him to open up. I can't get him to tell me what's wrong. I know I've hurt him in some way. I've bothered him in some way, but he won't open that door, right? And so that hurts, and that is hard. Or there's the affair. My partner betrayed me. That hurts, and I'm not minimizing that in any way, but this is where we tend to get fixated on. We get into our limbic system, which is the fight, flight, or freeze mode, and we fixate on these things. And even professionals, while they have good intentions, many counselors, pastors, and others out there will say, okay, there's been an affair. We just need to stop the affair. And they don't even understand why the affair happened, because there's a reason why that person turned to someone else, right? So maybe Susie has a high need for security. And her husband's spending money like crazy. Tom is spending money like crazy. And that makes her feel really insecure. Okay, this is just a really surface level example to show you how this all works. So now Susie feels really insecure because she has a high need for emotional security. And now Brandon comes along and makes her feel secure. She has an affair because she needs that sense of security. Not saying it's the right thing to do, but do you see what I'm saying? And most people will focus on the affair, that the affair just needs to stop. And what happens when we focus on the symptoms is that the problems won't go away. Because the thing is that Susie still feels really insecure. I hope I didn't change her name in our character example here. Susie, right? She's still feeling insecure. And if we don't fix that problem, then another problem will crop up in its place, right? Okay. So to us, it's like, you know, if we're just focusing on the symptoms, that's like starting to do open heart surgery, right? Or starting to put a Band-Aid on a cancer tumor without diagnosing what's even going wrong in the first place. And when we do that, it either becomes masked, like the symptoms just becomes masked, or a new one crops up to take its place. Okay? Is that making sense? Okay. Seeing yes. Good. Making sense. Awesome. So take that 30,000 foot view and understand that the symptoms cannot be where the majority of the focus is to really solve what's going on. Because that's just like putting a Band-Aid on my cancer tumor instead of finding out why did I get cancer in the first place. True story. If you know me, I actually had cancer at 29. So we'll go into that in a little bit. But are my spouse and I focusing on the symptoms? Check in with that one. Are we focusing on those symptoms? And is focusing on the symptoms really solving the problem? Okay, so now we want to uncover the narrative so that we can solve the issues, the problems at their roots. How we're going to do that, remember that closed door? Shouting across the canyon to our spouse, please open up to me. You don't want to talk about the relationship, right? So we want to first open up that communication. Like I said, that's our first goal. That's our first milestone, is we must open up communication with them. And so the first way to do that is to listen to understand, not respond. We've got to put our defensiveness aside. And that's exactly what we teach our clients to do, to get to a calm, clear, and centered place so that you can listen to understand them. Go back to those questions that I had you think about earlier. What are you really wanting? Why? What are your reasons for leaving? What are you hoping to achieve? And truly understanding what the situation is in their perspective. So ask yourself, am I listening to understand, or am I listening to respond as quickly as possible to make them feel bad for what they've done because they deserve pain because they put me in pain? Okay? I'm saying that because I've been there. And I know the difference now between listening to understand versus listening to respond. So let me go to my next slide here. It's important to understand what blocks that understanding in us. When we're so eager to get the next word in, we're so eager to share our side of the story, right? We're so eager to share our pain with them, right? We want understanding so badly. Like we crave being understood. That feeling that someone understands me is one of the best feelings in the world. But we are trying to get it before we give it. So the number one reason is being so caught up in our own pain, so caught up in our own narrative, and so caught up into what I'm about to show you right now. Our own pain, our own narrative, that creates tunnel vision, and we can't see it for what it really is. That blocks us from truly understanding our husband or our wife. So this is me, go back 4 years ago. I'm the one on the right, not the one with the goatee, the baldy. So this is me at age 29. I was diagnosed with breast cancer while we were expecting our sixth baby. I went in for a routine checkup with my midwife, and I knew that I needed to address something that I had discovered on my left breast with her. but it was kind of in the back of my mind. So I'm sitting there in her office, you know, the comfy chair, the comfy bed, and she's doing the ultrasound. And there's our beautiful little baby, heart beating, 10 weeks along. All is looking well. All is looking good. Congratulations, baby number 6. I'm so happy to see this little one and to know that everything's well. Oh, by the way, midwife, can you check this out? I noticed a lump on my breast. I think it's just because I'm nursing. She did an ultrasound and immediately said, we need to get you into radiology. I want them to do a biopsy, just to be sure. Wow, okay. Fear immediately spikes up, right? Walking down the hall, the same building, to a room I've never been in before, an entirely new wing, to radiology. I barely knew what that word meant at that time. And I go in, the radiologist is young, shakes my hand. Hi, Heather. No worries, we're just gonna do a routine thing here, biopsy you, poke you with a needle. Not stuff I was used to, not stuff that I was particularly comfortable with. I'm feeling nervous. I call Ben. Do you want me to come? I'm at the shop. Do you want me to come? No, I'm good. I got this. You just stay there. It's totally normal. I just want to let you know. I'm feeling terrified inside. Why did I tell him not to come? Why did I tell him not to come? So the needle goes into me and I watch it on the screen because it's like an ultrasound guiding the needle, and they biopsy it. And the whole time I'm getting so scared. But the doctor's saying, you're young. The likelihood of you having cancer is so small. You have no history. It's probably just a cyst, you know, all these things. Okay. Didn't really assure me, but I went home. 3 days later, my midwife calls me. Heather, it's cancer. Okay. Now, as I look back on those moments, why didn't I call him? Fast forward now to the summer of 2015. The baby's born, healthy and well. Incredible, beautiful miracle. I kept my baby even though doctors said I needed to abort her to save my own life. I'm still going through cancer treatment, and now I'm going through radiation. And we're living in a camper trailer on my parents, on my in-laws' land, on my husband's parents' land, in a camper trailer with our 6 children because we lost our business, we lost our home. I was in a feeling of I have lost so much right now. I've lost my hair. I've lost my beauty. I've lost my health. I've lost my energy. I've lost my friends. I've lost my support. I've lost a breast. I'm losing my eyelashes. I'm losing everything. I lost my friends. I lost our financial support. And now I was starting to feel like I was losing my marriage. Because while we were living on my in-laws' property, my husband started turning to his family for some emotional support. But in my mind, I was in so much pain and such a sense of loss that I felt like I was being abandoned by him. And that feeling of I'm being abandoned created a narrative for me so that when he'd come home and I could hear his truck, big old diesel engine, right, pulling up and onto the property, I knew what time he got there, and then it was 45 minutes later before he'd come into the camper to say hi to me. I knew who he was talking to. And I created this story that, wow, he must not really care about me. And it got to the point where I felt like I had to leave. I went down to him where he was in his parents' house, and I said, Ben, I've got to go. I can't do this anymore. I can't lose you two. And he said, Heather, it's not like that. You're not losing me. Please don't go. And I said, I can't. You're not here. You're not listening to me. I'm trying to tell you what I need, and I'm not getting it. And I've got to leave. So I drove away. You want to know how long I made it? How far I went? 3.2 miles. Some of you might be laughing like, oh, wow, Heather, you really, really made it far, right? But for me, every single one of those miles felt like 1,000. And I watched the mile marker counting. 2.2 miles, 0.3 miles, 0.4 miles. And I pulled over into a sunflower field because I was crying so bad I couldn't drive anymore. And those sunflowers were just glaring at me, right? They're so pretty and bright. And it was just such a contrast to the darkness that I was feeling. I'd never left before. I'd never said those words, I can't do this anymore. And so I stopped and I asked myself, is there another way of looking at this? And if I really leave, are this feeling that I have of darkness, is it going to go away? And I knew that it would not. And so I recognized in that moment that even if I left Ben, even if I left our marriage and I found someone else, or my life took me in a different direction, those feelings I had would stay with me no matter what, because I didn't feel like I was worthy of love. I didn't feel like I was good enough. And I realized I needed to fix that first. So this is my story of how my own pain and my own perspective completely blocked me from understanding Ben. And if I had done what I'm sharing with you now, then I wouldn't have had those blocks. I would have understood that he was not abandoning me. He was trying to get support so he could continue to support me. And I wish that I had known this back then, because it would have saved me so much heartache and so much trouble. So as you're working with your husband or your wife, set aside your own pain, set aside your own story, because maybe like me, it's not even true. And we need to get rid of those blocks so that we can get to the heart of what's going on. Does that resonate with you? Does that make sense? So bringing this full circle, as we remove those blocks and we truly listen to understand, and we truly strive to bring that understanding to our spouse, we can ask them opening questions. And one of the favorite things I love about our program that Mark and I do is we teach you how to ask those opening questions, how to get your spouse to really open up and uncover what the narrative is. And above all, becoming really calm and centered in yourself. Because when you're seeking to just truly understand because you love this person and you just want to understand them, then you can be like the calm in the storm, and everything else can be raging around you and you're okay. That's where we want to get you. So I'm going to turn it over to Mark now, as he's going to go into how this communication opens up. You know what? One of my favorite things about this job is, you know, how understanding everyone is. So both Heather and I, we have offices in our home, and sometimes, you know, things like that just happen. You might have been hearing some banging between Heather and I. Heather has 7 kids, I have 5 kids, and so sometimes things like this just happen. So I always have to give it a little, you know, have a little bit of humor with it, you know, have some, and I appreciate all the understanding that everyone else has. But yeah, taking it taking it a little bit further here, these things here, this is absolutely critical, and this is what I think a lot of people miss. They start getting so caught up in their own pain, like Heather was talking about here, that they don't really see the truth of what's going on. And it can make the world of difference if you can stop and listen and understand, not even respond. If you can ask questions, if you can be calm, it does so much for making some progress. It instantly breaks down the walls that people have built up, and you can finally communicate. I mean, I can remember dozens of stories about clients who've had spouses that wouldn't talk to them, and as soon as they just stopped and listened and started asking questions, as soon as they started being a little bit more calm, you know, we have so many people telling us, oh, you know, I haven't even talked to my husband or my wife in the last 6 years this much, you know, let alone the last few days. Just one quick example. I can remember Matt, who had an extremely angry wife that frequently insulted and yelled at him. I mean, yes, there's some need for boundaries there, but, you know, as soon as he actually, instead of fighting back and escalating the situation, as soon as he could approach that with some calm and was able to listen to some of those complaints, instead of arguing against them, she instantly calmed down. Now, it took some time to kind of get past a lot of those arguments and a lot of that volatility, but this is always the first step here. You know, this quote here, you know, High Thrives Coaching is helpful in understanding what to say and when to say, and it's made a huge improvement in helping her open up and communicate with me. This is what Simon is saying. This is not an exaggeration. Just pretty much 100% of our clients that follow the method are
absolutely able to open up communication with their spouses. Whereas, before they couldn't really get to them. They couldn't, they're stonewalling. Their spouse is too angry to talk to them. They hardly had any communication because maybe you're separated and they'll hardly talk to you. It's all about gaining some more perspective in the right way. We have other people, Tammy here. Like I said before, he shared more with me in the past 6 days than in the previous 6 months. Absolutely. One of the things that we pride ourselves in is being able to help people crack open a lot of these really tough shells. Even if their spouse is not working with us, that's kind of our thing. How do we help you help your spouse open up? So, I want to ask you guys, and I can just guess here what some of you are saying. I'm going to admit, I can't actually see the comments right now. Heather, the way the technology is working, I don't know what's going on, but maybe Heather can confirm this. But I'm going to guess a lot of you are going to say yes to this. Could your marriage benefit from that type of communication? A type of communication where you sit down and are calm and you can be collected and you aren't attacking each other and you're just able to ask questions and have patience. Heather, I mean, I imagine people are saying yes, right?
Yes, they are. They're saying yes. They're asking, we're separated. We have no communication. Does this still work? That's exactly what we're talking about. That's exactly what like Simon and Tammy were in, that kind of situation. They were separated, weren't living together. They had minimal communication, spouse pushing for divorce. And that's exactly why we need to open up that door right there. Does that make sense? Everyone? Yes. Yes. Good.
We've had people who basically only communicate when they drop off kids, to each other's houses. I would say, pretty much the only time when this absolutely wouldn't work is when there's like legal restrictions on communication. We have had people come our way with things like that, where there's some sort of protective order, or there's absolutely no communication whatsoever. They won't receive a phone call. They won't look at you. They won't talk to you at all. But even then, there's maybe a few things that we can still try, but maybe not with the legal problems. But even with the very limited communication, there's still lots of things we can do to start shifting that a little bit and cracking that open.
Absolutely. So I'm just wanting to see if, we're almost here at time and we've just barely gotten into the first step. So I want to be really cognizant of everyone's time here today and ask if you would like us to go deeper, in another week or two, we can do another masterclass going even deeper into, the next phases of our path method, how we make those adjustments, tell the new story, and hold out hope. Is that something that you would like? Would you like to see the rest of that in greater detail so that you can kind of get a full picture? I just want to be, really respectful of everyone's time here tonight. But I do want to emphasize that this first piece is the most crucial. If you don't open that door, if you don't bridge that gap, then none of the rest of the techniques that you hear about or anything else that anyone else teaches is going to work. And so that's why it's so crucial that we open up that communication and that we start to uncover what their narrative is. Okay, yes, absolutely. Yes, please. Okay, gotcha. I'm just going to jump ahead. Mark, if you want to answer maybe one or two questions, I'll see them in the chat and I'm going to figure out how to wrap this up neatly.
Yeah. So if you can read, like I said, I can't see the comments for some reason with this platform here. So
yeah, a question that I saw a little bit ago. If you have one, go ahead and let me know. Yes, ASAP. Awesome. Yes, more. Yes, indeed. Way deep. Okay. Yes, same time, please. Okay. All right. Let me get back to that question. I saw such a good one. Okay. Okay, he barely makes eye contact and refuses to sit face to face to even discuss our children. So is that even going to work, right? Barely makes eye contact, refuses to sit face to face, even to discuss our children. So that would be definitely a case where things are very, very closed off. Mark?
Yeah. Even something like there, the fact that you are discussing your children means that we have some wiggle room here to do something. I'm going to say here that you probably do not understand why things are so tense between the two of you, and why he's not meeting your eye, and why he can't hardly speak with you. And before we even get into a lot of solutions, that really would be a crucial bit of information to learn is, why is this so tense right now? What does, why is it so uncomfortable to even sit in front of you? I can almost hear, those little explanations, those little bits of story, the narrative that this lady's husband is saying to himself to get it to that point. Like, these are just guesses, but after hearing so many stories like this, I get pretty good at guessing these sort of things. I'm guessing he's saying that, okay, she's not going to listen to me anyway, or she just always has to be right. Why bother talking to her? Or I can never do anything right anyway. So there's just a lot of discomfort and discomfort even looking at her. And her husband is likely going through a lot of these things in his head, as this tension is there. And what we would really need to do is really break that up. We can easily start breaking up just a little bit of that as you start doing some things different. Obviously, I'd have to get closer into the situation to be able to accurately tell you what you can do here. But generally, we want to start making some big changes that are going to really catch his attention. If, for instance, he feels like his opinion is never acknowledged, taking some time to listen and explicitly tell him that you want to hear his opinion. Or maybe if he's saying that she never admits fault, actually taking some time to apologize. Well, these little things like this can start breaking that up, and at least get him possibly interested in speaking a little bit more, and then we can work from there.
Right. Okay. Awesome. So I'm going to bring this here to a close, but I want you to really ask yourself, I really encourage you to create an open space in your heart, create an open space in your mind to receive some inspiration, to hear what that inner being inside of you is really calling for you to do, right? What is going to be that next step? For me, honestly, it felt like I was stepping into the dark and I didn't know if there was going to be ground to catch me. But as I took that step, then the ground appeared. I didn't see it at first, though. It's that leap of faith, right? And so it's just being willing to get out of your comfort zone, to start to do some new things. And as you take a step, you're like, okay, wow, I'm safe. I did it. Okay, next step. Okay, that was scary too, but I'm still okay. Okay, next step. And it's always scary. It always is. It never goes away. That part never goes away. But it's being willing to step just beyond that darkness or that fear into what you really, really want. So ask yourself, do I want to get my spouse back? Do I want to? How good would that feel to feel like we're back in love? They're back home with me. My family is back together. We are back in love, right? So going even deeper, like, do I want to get my spouse back? Yes, I'm saying absolutely. That's 100%. Do I want to buy some time? We didn't go into this, but we'll go into this later. But Mark and I have proven that when we can buy some time, if your spouse is headed out the door, if they're pushing for divorce, if there's just a lot of distance between you, that if you can get your spouse to agree to 6 months of time, and we show you exactly how to do that. Okay, that's one of the next milestones in our program. Beyond opening up communication, uncovering a story, buy some time. 6 months of time. I was like, are headed out the door if they're pushing for whoa.
All right, that was on my end. I was trying to look at one of the comments and it pulled up the we love technology here. How it always works well for us, right?
I hate hearing myself talk, so that was really jarring. Anyway, but yeah, okay, so 6 months of time here. If they can, getting them to agree to have 6 months of time, that is the golden ticket to greatly increase your chances to then fully restore the marriage, to fully get them back, to fully get the love back in your relationship. Okay, so do I want to do that? Do I want to live with peace in my heart, knowing that I did everything for my marriage and my family? Regardless of what happened, I can look back at the end of my life and know that I lived my life with no regrets, that I had peace of mind, happiness, and joy as I changed the story that has been holding me back, has been keeping me in pain for so long, just like my story in the sunflower field when I finally realized that that was my inner story, my inner limiting belief that I did not deserve love. And as I lived that story, I subconsciously sabotaged myself from what I really wanted. I subconsciously pushed Ben away, my husband. I subconsciously never fully trusted him. And I would overreact. And I could see now, looking back over the years, how that story played out and how it affected my relationship and caused us so much pain, caused me so much pain. And until I solved that story inside of me, I could not be open up to the love that I really wanted. But now I am, because I've learned how to change the story inside myself. So do you want that? Do I want to finally become the person I really want to be? Do I want to finally stop self-sabotaging myself? Do I finally want to just live with absolute peace of mind that I'm living congruent to my best self? Because that's exactly what it's all about. That is worth everything. I can see yes. Awesome. Oh, you guys are rocking it. This is so great. Yes, absolutely. We want to get there. We all want to get there. And so I got a question earlier about our coaching with our new Path coaching program. It is radically different, and it has been just phenomenal results with the couples that we've worked with. And again, we typically work with just one person. 95% of the time, we're working with just one person who's working to save the marriage because the other person's checked out. And we do have a few spots open. I'm going to be completely honest, we just enrolled 3 new clients today. So congratulations to them, especially I see several of you on there. Yep. Okay. I just got to address this comment. I just saw Heather, but you were the one who left and came back. Okay. Yes, you are right. But that story is the story that would have prevented all of that from happening. And you have a story, and you have a story about your spouse, and you have a story about yourself, and you have a story about the marriage. They have a story about you, they have a story about themselves, and they have a story about the marriage. So it doesn't really matter what side you're on. What matters is getting to the truth of who we really are and being creators of our lives, creators of our stories. Okay, Ben could come on here and tell you his other side of the story, but you have me, so yay for that. So this is what's really, where it really comes true. This is where it really hits home, is that life, it is really short. We never know how much time we have. And bottom line, we want to know that we lived our lives with absolutely no regrets. So like I said, we just enrolled 3 new clients, which is awesome. We do have a few spots open for coaching. And if that is you, then I would invite you to come on. I'm not going to show you these. Okay. I'm not going to show you the testimonials because you guys know them. You've been with us long enough. You know, it's real. Results don't lie. So this is what we look for if this sounds like you. Because we want to make sure that we're able to serve you best and that this is going to be a good fit for you as well. We look for those that are committed, invested, and coachable. You must be willing to do what it takes to save your marriage. Bottom line, do whatever it takes to save your marriage. And bottom line, that you want to live your life with no regrets. Bottom line, you want to become the person you're really meant to be. So if that sounds like you, then we invite you to come over to highthrivecoaching.com/apply, and you can apply to become a member, a coaching client here in this incredible program that we've put together to get your spouse back, to get you whole, well, centered, and in alignment, living day to day with who you really are. Life, it is short. Time is precious. So I encourage all of us, make the most of it now. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you for your incredible comments. I honor you. And thank you, Mark, for coming tonight. We will talk to you guys soon.
See you, everyone.